Hello, people. My name is Dr. Glory. Welcome to this episode of Depth and Becoming. Depth and Becoming is a podcast that focuses on Gen Zs, especially the struggling ones and the vulnerable ones. We're here to enlighten, to heal, to raise, and to transform their experiences by sharing ours and how we became. So, here today we have Bukola and we have Pius. I'll let them introduce themselves quickly, then we can start on the topic of today.
Hi everyone, my name is Bukola. I am a current student of the University of Science and Technology of China and also the founder of People Movement, an organization that aims to end period poverty in Africa.
Thank you so much, Bukola. Okay, Pius, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Pius. I am involved in training students for Olympiad mathematics. I'm a mathematician, currently also in my master's degree at the University of Science and Technology. And over the years, I've been involved in training students for competitions and things like that.
Wow, that's really, really awesome. Thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. So today we're here to talk about the cost of investing in oneself. The cost of investing in oneself. We may ask, why is it crucial that we invest in ourselves? In as much as we understand that it is good to help other people, develop and grow. Why do you invest in yourself more? So maybe I'll start with Bukola. Why?
Okay. While asking that question, something came to my mind. They'll say you can't pour from an empty cup or an empty glass. Yeah. If your cup is empty, you cannot pour in someone else. In as much as you have the hype, I want to change the world, I want to make impact, I want to help people, you have to first invest in yourself. Then you're able to transfer whatever investment you've done in yourself to another person. So that's why it's important you invest in yourself first. And we have a lot of this problem in Africa where you see people invest in other people. For example, mostly in a family setting, you see like the firstborn take the whole responsibility and invest in their siblings. I'm not saying that is bad. It's not bad. But you see later on in the future, it comes to a place where they don't have anything for themselves and they are bitter because all the investment, everything they have, everything they own in their life, they have poured it into someone else. And now is a case where they have to now depend on these people. They are no longer independent of themselves. So, in as much as you want to invest in someone, make it a priority to first invest in yourself before you try to pour into someone else. Yeah.
That's a very, very good insight. Then we'll go to Pius. Pius will share his, then I will.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, I would like to think about it as life being like some kind of business. So if you have a business, the purpose of the business is to benefit the owner and maybe the community and those around, right?
Of course.
But the business need to be able to run. Otherwise, how do you call that even a business, right? So you need the business to be able to like run itself and at the same time be able to feed out like to those that are the beneficiaries, right? So there need to be some kind of balance between those two things. You can't just focus on one aspect. Otherwise, if you only invest in the business, then it's not profitable. And if you only just like take all the profits, then the business doesn't grow as well. But if the business grow on one hand gradually, the output is also increasing. So it's beneficial for both the business and everyone. So it's similar like that. So as people also, we need to invest in ourselves. As we grow, those around us also will benefit from that, whether directly or indirectly. And then we also invest in others. So there has to be some balance within that, because some people might not necessarily appreciate, right? May not necessarily get. Human beings are not predictable to that extent. But there will also be people that would eventually like come around. So, but you yourself need to have like a basis, a foundation that doesn't depend on that unstable output. So you need to be able to like have something within yourself. No matter what happens, you can still survive, basically.
That's very, very, very insightful. I think you guys have made very clear points. And when it comes to investing in oneself, I think it's almost like a vision. We all have a vision of what it should be like. You understand? For me, I think of myself as the center, you know, as the center of a foundation. Me as a person, as a center of a foundation. Every other person that is around me might, may or may not need my support, right?
Right.
But if I don't stand firm as the center, I probably would not be able to extend the support that I need to extend to other people. So I think it's very important. And Bukola did say something that as Africans, we tend to, give and give and give a lot of ourselves, and in expectation that people will be indebted to us, or they will do the same for us. And that is always not a guarantee, right? So taking investing is in yourself, it's more like the first stage of self-love, right? You want to be able to give to others or invest in others, but first you invest in yourself so that you can give more. I read a book, or I'm reading a book right now, The Diary of a CEO, and the author, Stephen Becklet, said you that one of his mentor advised him that if he wants to be a better entrepreneur, that he needs to go and get more skills, more like you need to widen, expand your base in order for you to have a balance, not necessarily grow taller at certain stage of your life. You don't necessarily need to grow taller, but you need to expand your base so that you will be firm in whatever endeavor you come out to be a professional at. So that goes to say that his mentor now told him that, well, you need to just chill, don't try to save everybody right now,
Right.
right? Just focus on yourself, because the bigger your pool is, then you can extend to more people, you can reach more people. So that is a clear reason why self investment is more important, because you tend to do more if you focus on self first, right? So moving forward, since this podcast focuses on youths and teenagers, and mostly we call them Gen Zs, right? Empowerment, we would like to talk more about their reality, which is education, skill. Let's talk about their reality. How, just from your own point of view, how do you think you have invested in your education, or a skill or skills that have, you know, extended your life's capacity? How would you say you have done that? No,
Okay.
maybe we should start.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think education is one of those things that are very central and key, because without education, it limits like your knowledge and the scope of things you could even come up with usually.
Mhm.
So definitely we need to pay attention to education. Usually it can feel boring, especially at the younger age, where it's like you're
Mm,
forced to just maybe go to school.
I agree.
But those things do build up like cultivate different habits, apart from the knowledge, also the character,
Mm,
things like that. So those things would take you a long way, not just the knowledge, right? And for me, I went to just a regular secondary school, not a boarding school per se. So there's a balance between home and school, so to speak. But from school, we do get those discipline like timing and things like that, right?
Okay.
And then also in terms of personal skill, I think everyone has like a talent, right? Or
Yes.
some kind of gift where we can you have to engage in things to actually find out your talent to begin with. Like your hobbies, for example, if you use those things as a basis for your skill or the profession you want to go towards, it's more sustainable because you yourself have that interest and passion for it. And there's also this confidence that would come along with it as well because you've seen it along the way that this is something you can do, right? So you just need to build more on that. And for me, one of the things that have helped me a long way is my mathematics skill, I would say, in terms of curiosity, analysis, and things like that, problem solving basically. And that has really taken me a long way, even up to this moment. So I think it's good to, and how I got to even like expand on that was my dad actually registered me for some competitions. Was like I was in JS2. He was like I should try this, right? And the school wasn't too passionate about those kind of things, but he himself invested in me in that sense to motivate me to just do it either way, right?
Thank you so much. So, Pius is a mathematician, and I think lots of people are scared of mathematics.
Yeah.
Can you please, can you please give us the cheat code not to be scared of mathematics? You know,
Yeah.
so many people's destiny have changed course. You know,
Yeah.
because of the fear of mathematics. Do you have any cheat code? Anything
Well,
just for the people?
perhaps one reason why it's difficult is maths tend to build on previous ideas, so it's like some kind of building. So most times, if the foundation is not very good, it can actually affect the long term. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it's good to like develop that at a younger age. Otherwise, it's more difficult to like backtrack and it feels like so much work. So I think most times that is like the issue. Because not something you just dive in and then magically everything will come together. You need some time to gradually build things up from one concept, maybe from addition, then you can understand multiplication. You cannot just jump into multiplication, right?
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much. That is very insightful. I think people can at least be less fearful, for math as a subject. Bukola, I'd like you to focus on skill and self care. How has it impacted you, and how can people, be encouraged to practice? Yeah.
When it comes to skill, yeah, Pius said something about education.
Mm.
I am someone that really believe in like getting the foundation, regardless of what you want to do. I believe in your skill. You need a degree. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
not saying you should go have a master's degree or have a PhD. We've gone past that. But when it comes to skill, I feel you first need the foundation. Even if you maybe want to learn hairdressing, whatever you want to learn, hairdressing, video editing,
Mm.
content creation, because that's what the Gen Zs are doing now. Yeah. They
Yes.
believe in this whole online thingy. Am I a Gen Z? I think so.
you are a
Yeah.
Gen Z.
So basically, like, the world is now like a global village. Everyone wants to do remote and all that. In as much as all that is good, and those are high income skill, I feel one should also get a degree, have a bachelor's degree. That is the least because life often doesn't go as we plan. Imagine you say, "Oh, I'm done with secondary school and TikTok or content creation is now the big thing. UCG is now the big thing. That's what I want to do. I don't want to have a bachelor's degree." In 4 5 years, can you predict what will happen? Now you go out as someone who has spent 4 5 years after your SSC or your at high school, and you don't get a college degree. Now you're stuck. So in as much as you're building other areas of your life, you might not use that degree building other skills of your life. Make sure that you go to school and have a degree. It cannot be overemphasized. Do you think people like Davido's dad, who was clamoring for him to just have a degree. The man created a whole department so that the guy could finish school. Do you want to tell me that those kind of people, they don't know what they are thinking when they just want their child to just have that degree? Just have that degree. That's why you see so many rich people. They're just like, just have the bachelor's degree. I don't want any other thing from you, but just have your but this is popular guy, American guy. I watched one of his podcasts, and he was like, he told his children that for his children to be able to inherit any of his properties, any of his will, they need to have at least a master's degree.
Ah, I think
Yeah,
Shaq
I can't
O'Neal
remember
also
his name,
said that.
but they
This
need to,
basketball
yeah, they
player,
need to
yes,
have
he
at
also said that.
least a master's degree. Do you think those people are not wise? Or do you think they don't know what they are doing? That is the mistake most of we Gen Zs make. You just look at someone's life, maybe a very popular rapper, and you're like, oh, but he doesn't have a degree. I can be like him.
Swing it.
Yeah, I can sing it. You guys don't have the same background. You guys don't have the same opportunity. You don't come from the same region. Those things might really work out well for them because they are in the global north. We that were in the global south, yeah, I believe we're in the global south,
Yeah,
like Africa and all that.
yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
What you said is very insightful. Let me stand on the authority that I have a PhD and say this. Um, Education in this generation should not be negotiated for um, maybe trending skills only. Just because education, it is not just about, I think even with some skill sets, you can still, walk into certain places, get, get entrance into certain places. But what education does for you, it's the quality of human being you become. You know, I feel like education, broadens your horizon and equips you with the ability to reach for endless possibilities. So, for me, I think more importantly, when we think of education, definitely people might want to say professors don't earn 1/10 of what a TikToker earns, right? But what if that TikToker, has the basic, maybe like a bachelor's degree? That TikToker has more leverage, has the skill set, in his generation, and also is a quality human being that can exist in any space, which means he can do what he does way better. So, generally, I think the essence of education should be or is to improve the quality of the human being you become. Yeah. Because in education, you will learn diligence. In education, you will learn persistence, resilience. You will learn time management, whatever's all the life skill that you need. So I think that is what stands out for me in education. Yeah. So the next question is for Pius. What How do you manage time? What's your time management technique?
Is first of all, there's a time for everything, right? So there are, for example, school, we know when school is supposed to begin and when it's supposed to end and things like that.
Yeah.
When it's a good time to have your meals. So there are some basic things that the time is very precise and set. And as human beings, we are kind of flexible in the sense that when we do something repeatedly, it becomes a part of us actually, even if initially it may be difficult, right? So sometimes you do need to push yourself to get into certain routine, and eventually it's going to be a part of you once you have that determination to do it. So now, in terms of management, there are two perspectives you can look at it from: the smaller scale and maybe a bigger scale, right?
Okay.
So on the smaller scale, maybe like on a daily
Basis.
basis. So you need to have like at least a basic plan for certain days. So maybe weekends, you have an idea of how your weekend should look
go.
like, and so there should be a balance. So if usually it's nice to have like a schedule, like an actual planned schedule, but for some persons like myself, that would not necessarily work all the time, right?
Yes.
So you have to know yourself well enough to know how flexible you want to be with certain things. So sometimes you may need to adjust like the positioning of different activities. Maybe if there's a delay in something, let's say you need to have lunch and it was delayed, during that time you should be doing something else, right? Otherwise it's gonna like disrupt the rest of the flow of the day, right? So you need to understand yourself well enough and have that purposefulness in how you spend your time. And also within like different like weekends, it's important that we should rest and engage in other activities for self-care, also to improve our skills outside of maybe our education or career, right? So there need to be that balance. You need to do something that is sustainable, so to speak.
That's
And
very
then
good.
in the longer, from the like a bigger perspective,
Yes.
right? So you need to also have like a vision for yourself, basically, about how you want your life to go. What are the plans in the different aspects, maybe even spiritually, emotionally, and all those things, right? So you need to have like at least an overview of the direction you want your life to go in, and then even while you aspire for certain things, like you say, God's time is the best, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes things may not go as planned, right? But during those times, you should be doing something. So I think usually that is a good time to develop your skills, actually,
I think,
where you have more time to engage with family, with friends, with different hobbies, and see how you can make this hobby actually become like a source of income, for example.
yeah,
That's like killing two birds with one stone.
yeah.
So while you're waiting for something major, that time should still be used for other important things. It's like an opportunity, so to speak. Yeah.
I think you're very correct. Because with time, more and more I'm realizing that it's something you cannot, it's time is like an exchange for your lifetime, right? You're here for 5 hours. It's like that 5 hours makes you older.
Yeah.
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 That is you getting older.
Definitely.
So, in as much as we're saying it in minutes, hours, and days and stuff like that, it is very essential, and we cannot get that back.
No.
The other day, I was telling Bukola here that I have learned to delegate and pay for my time, or I am at peace with it now. Do you understand? I'm at peace with delegating and paying for my time, especially if I feel like my time is worth more than that, right?
Mm.
I am willing to delegate and pay, even if it means you just resting, because
That's so
that
important.
resting too
Very important.
has a lot, contributes a lot to your functionality when it comes to doing the real work that
Yeah,
you need to do.
efficiency,
Efficiency, you
to be
understand?
in the right mindset.
So
Yeah.
if I need to pay somebody, a few bucks for 5 hours of my time, and that time I'm going to just use it to do some work for 2 hours and rest, I'll rather do that.
Mm.
Because because more and more it's we're beginning to understand that if you can exchange your time for what they can do, why not?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
understand?
For
It
different
means you
resources
still
that
have
we
some
can.
percentage
Yeah. Yeah.
left. So that is how I'm beginning to see things now. I think
Mm.
time management is key. We should learn to delegate. It is not waste of money. It is just viewing things. It's more like you pay me,
It's
I
an
pay
exchange of
you.
resources,
It's
but
like
knowing
you
which is more precious, I guess.
yes,
Yeah.
it's like I pay her, you pay, she pays you, you pay someone else, right? So even understanding my sleeping pattern, you know,
Mm.
I realize that when I'm with my phone like an hour before I go to bed or 30 minutes before I go to bed, I don't sleep deep until like maybe 2 3 hours after that time.
Mm.
Do you understand? So at some point you have to give yourself brain and just tell yourself, okay, maybe
We have
it's
to
time
just
to we should be
let's
reading
just
book
finish.
bedtime. You
Yeah,
understand? If you want to,
right.
because the quality of sleep I get, determine how vibrant, how vitalized I am the
The
next day
next
to do whatever
entire day.
I need to do.
Yeah.
Right? So it's more like a snowball effect
Mm.
or a domino effect. Like this will
Yeah.
affect this will affect this. So time management is very important, even if it means you resting. That is my message.
Yeah.
You
Rest is
understand?
important.
Even if it means
Hobbies,
you resting, because
family.
people
Yeah.
are always like, oh, but you're just resting, you're not doing anything. So why are you saying you don't have time? It's part of the time. I need that time to rest. It's okay.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I would like to add that we should like put a balance, because obviously not all our audience have the money to pay for their time. Not everybody has gotten to that point where they can pay
Mm.
to get things done for them. And now if they're hearing this like, oh, you need to pay for your time. We're not necessarily asking you to pay for your time when you don't have the money, or when you don't have the resources, or when you feel like these resources is not even enough for me to
Yeah. It's just
offset,
another valuable
yes,
resource
what I
that one needs
have.
to spend.
So now in this case where you've not gotten to the place where you can pay for your time, you just have to manage your time well, know when to do certain things and know when to rest, and like you continue that until when you get to that place where you can pay for your time. Because it's not wise if you cannot pay for your time and the little money you have, if
Yeah.
it's something you can do and you're giving it to someone else to do for you when you don't have like enough resources. You just know how to manage your time. If you have the money that you can use to buy that time, you should definitely do it. But if you don't have, make sure you manage your time well, in that you will not be exhausted or burnt out from doing both simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and we have to sometimes one might have like so many things in mind, like so many projects, like you have so many things you need to do, right? But sometimes you need to give them space and like take them in turns, sometimes one after the other. Otherwise, like you just be all over the place and none of them will be done well, right? So
That's
sometimes you
true.
do need to also like zone in a bit for some things, get them to certain level, and then you give other things like space.
You're
Yeah.
very right.
Yeah.
I think that's why I also don't like New Year resolutions. I
it's
don't
like
I
it's like
don't
a
care. I
just
don't care for
everything is
them.
coming in at once and
Yes, I
it's
don't care.
overwhelming.
I don't
Yeah.
care for New Year resolution. I'd rather have quarterly
Mm.
plans, right? I'll say from January to the end of March, I want to get this done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every day for me, it's focus. Like this is you're lagging here.
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to do. This is the time you have left to do it,
Yeah.
because it's within 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So you have more focus on the goals if it's a shorter period of time. Smaller projects, or
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
smaller projects but shorter time. Review and see what did you do the last 3 months that did not work, that did not make this move. Okay, you
Mm.
try to review the process and continue. So
Yeah.
yeah, the
And
same.
yeah.
I
And
think.
that principle is actually very good because depending on irrespective of which kind of personality you have,
Mhm,
it still works either way. Because for those that are more time based, it gives you that sense of orderliness and there's a comfort that comes with that, I think.
mhm,
And
mhm,
then for those that are more spontaneous, I think we tend to work more stronger towards deadlines. So if you have like a more definite uh, end in mind, it gives you more motivation than if it's something like everything is just open ended at the same
mhm.
time. All of them will be floating probably for a while. And then all
Yeah,
of a sudden you need to do all of them again, right? So, but if you have them step by step, then each time is like you have something more focused. You can do that. You get that out of the way. The next one comes again. You get it out of the way like that. So,
that's very good.
I
So
think
okay.
sorry. I
yeah.
think one book I just remembered a book because I'm very poor with time management. Sandra got me a book. I think It's That Frog or It's the Frog, something like that. That book is very good. I think anyone struggling with time management should read that book. It shows you how you can like break down your goals, your tasks, and how you can like accomplish them like one after the other. Yeah.
Mm, nice.
Okay, so I think we've talked about very, very serious and heavy things like education, skills, self care, you know, So this is not a pointer to our weaknesses. It's more like we want to we're saying this to highlight so that you know maybe something said here can be instrumental to somebody, because I think so many other platforms also helped me build that capacity. So I hope we will be able to do that as well. So in all of this seriousness, now let's ask, how do we celebrate small wins? Because let's not
Yeah,
say
very
big
important.
wins. Let's not say big wins. Now let's say small wins, like you completed a project, or there's something that has been on your mind and you completed that application.
Yeah.
You did something, how do you celebrate that? Because I think celebration is key, is one of the things we want to be able to look forward to.
Mm.
When you're in the battlefield, or you're in that space of when you're toiling, like you're doing in order to achieve something. You want to look forward to something that will help you, like, okay, when I get here, this is what I'm going to do for myself. So how do you celebrate small wins? Let me start with Bukola. Yes, please. She's the
Serious.
queen of
I'm,
she's the queen.
I am the queen of celebrating small wins.
I know.
I am.
I
If
know.
if I tell myself, oh, I want to walk like 10,000 steps today, and I can achieve that, the kind of joy I used to have, I'll say, oh, I need to go to Lashanti.
Then you
Then I take myself to
defeat.
Lashanti because I have achieved that. It is very important to learn to celebrate yourself. If you don't
Yes.
celebrate yourself, I don't think anyone would.
Yes.
You won't put so much value on yourself. I don't know if I'm passing it right. Like when you're celebrating yourself, it shows that you place value on yourself and value on your effort. You won't beat yourself down so much when you don't achieve certain things, because
Mm.
you have track records to look back at and you're like, oh, I was able to achieve this at certain point in my life. Do you know, I celebrate myself as much as if I get my paper submitted to a journal. I'm just submitting to the journal. I'm like, I achieved this. I did something. I can just decide to say, oh, let me go and buy myself some tangerines, or let me get myself some apples. Sometimes I will even sit down, I'm like, pizza is so expensive. Like, why will I spend hundred kwai on pizza? But I was like, Bukola, you did this thing. Buy yourself pizza, and I'll buy myself pizza. So it's very important at every point in our life, at every milestone, you celebrate yourself, because currently where you are, somebody is wishing that they are
Yes.
there. Somebody's
Yes.
wishing that
Yes.
they are there
Yes.
at that point. And
Yes.
it kind of takes away depression. Because by the time you say, oh, I did this small thing, you buy yourself something. As you are eating that food, you're not thinking of everything that did not work. You're just so focused on this thing that has worked
Hmm.
for you. So it's important you learn to celebrate yourselves. You do know the funny thing is, some people will work, I don't want to use their ass off. Morning, afternoon, evening. They are working. But tell them, when last did you buy something for yourself?
Hmm.
Self-care. This is also self-care.
Yeah.
When last did you buy something for yourself? You will see some parents. I'm not here bashing parents, because I know that they love their children.
Mm-hmm.
They will work so hard in years, and you see, they'll not buy one shoe for themselves.
Mm.
I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's something that is good. We should learn, because you're also trying to tell your child how to celebrate themselves, or how to make themselves feel special. Little things like that. In as much as you're working at, you should tell yourself, well done, give yourself a pat in the back. I have done well. Sometimes it even motivates you that you don't get to that breaking point and ask yourself, I've not even seen anything I'm doing. I've been working and nothing is showing. It takes away that depression, in a sense that, some people will be like, oh, for 4 years now I've not achieved anything. Meanwhile, all the small things you've achieved, you cannot see them, because you feel that they are not important things you should
Yeah.
celebrate. But if
Yeah.
you celebrate the small wins, when that thing comes to your mind and say, oh, you've not even achieved anything in your life, you remember that day that you bought yourself Coca-Cola because you were able to call someone, you're like, oh, I've not called this person for a while,
Yeah.
or I've not been able to submit to a journal, I've not been able to message my professor. You remember those small times you have done that, and it just gives you boost. And it's like, if you've done all these things and you succeeded by yourself, what is this one? You do it. But if you've not built the habit of always celebrating like these small wins, when that voice comes, there's nothing to use as reference point that you have really done for yourself, and you're just so low at that moment. So I really feel it's important to celebrate yourself. I do all the time. I'm telling you,
That's why I said you are the queen.
I do all the time.
That's why I said you are the
I do all
queen.
the time. Sometimes it might just be like, I've been craving like a cookie for like maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, I don't have money to buy, I don't have money. But you see, once I achieve anything, I say that cookie, it is today. I am using that to celebrate myself. So please celebrate yourself is very important. When you celebrate yourself, others, they say like begot like, right? If you celebrate yourself, others will see the value, like, especially they celebrate themselves, or they have that consciousness that when something happens to this person, is a big part of her to celebrate herself and tell herself, I have done well. And you can even infect other people. I call it infect because some people might see the way you treat yourself, you hold yourself, and they begin to do that for themselves too, and it just becomes like a vicious cycle that goes around.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
Yeah. So for me, when you're describing this, I was just thinking about it, and it reminds me of something similar also, which is gratitude, especially to God. But generally, just gratitude in general, they are very similar ideas. You have to have this consciousness about it
Yeah.
because that pays off. It means you really know what you have dealing with.
What you have done?
Not just looking at the next thing. You're always looking at the next thing. Life is not just about the next thing. Like King Solomon once said, like everything is full of labor. Like water is rushing everywhere, winds just going in circles. But we human beings, we shouldn't be like that. We have other, like we can enjoy life basically.
Yeah.
So it's not just labor, study. There needs to be like a balance to that, and that this is like a good time to have those things actually.
Yeah.
So which is why you shouldn't also spoil yourself too much,
Too much.
so you can appreciate it.
Yeah,
Right?
if you do it
Save
too
some
much,
things for that time where you know
Yes.
that okay, this is worth it.
True.
This is worth
true.
it, and you can be free with yourself.
True.
No one can judge you for that because you know that yes, you've achieved this. This was a target, you've gotten it, right? And then it's also like you said, motivation for the next thing. When you look back, you see things. Now you can see them more clearly, things you've done,
Yeah.
right? And then it's motivation that okay, you can do more things. Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with you guys totally. Not on not up until last year, yeah, maybe like 6 months back, that I begin to appreciate this mindset. Because I'm one that would always push forward. Like I believe delayed gratification, delayed gratification.
wait for the big
wait
one.
for the big one.
The thing now is,
And then
sorry, I would like to ask. You're waiting for the big one. Do you know when that big one will happen?
You will not see
no,
the big
I'll
one.
tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing for sure. Then the big one happens. You are too busy chasing something else.
Something bigger.
You're busy chasing something else. You're like, we're going to celebrate next time. Not until 6 months ago, I'm like, this MacBook computer. I have an old MacBook though. I'm like, this MacBook Pro, I've been meaning to buy since 2 years ago. Not like I can't afford it, by the way.
You're waiting for the
Yeah?
big thing to.
I'm waiting like I'm going to reward this myself with this MacBook. For me, that realization, it was just one day that everything just switched in my head. I'm like, I'm going to buy that MacBook Pro. I'm going to buy the phone. I'm going to buy everything.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because I worked for it. I deserve it. Do you understand? And there's been so many wins, like I didn't get to celebrate. For me, it was just like an accumulated thing. Yeah. So I do agree. Just so, anyway, in the case of the MacBook, it wasn't an irrational buy, but I can imagine, like, if you take that instant decision, yeah, without rewarding yourself with all the small wins, you might just go and buy something you you never use or you never need. Yeah. So like, yeah, it's better to celebrate it, as they come. As they come. It also is very good. So
Count your blessings.
yes, count your
Yeah, name one
blessings.
by one.
Name
And that's
them.
why that's why you see some rich people at the end of their life, they just look and they're like, I have worked so hard, but I never enjoyed any of these things I have worked for. Because they're always chasing the next big thing.
True,
It's
true.
not a bad thing to chase the next big thing, but celebrate yourself. Give yourself time. Do you know sometimes when I achieve something that I've been doing for a very long time, one of the ways I celebrate myself is not necessarily just buying things. I can just tell myself this, I'm celebrating myself and taking a break. In the next 2-3 days, I'm not doing anything. I will just stay in my bubble, enjoy myself, always go to the fridge and eat, watch movie, sleep. That is also you celebrating yourself and telling
Yeah,
yourself,
giving
Jai, oh,
yourself a break.
you've
Yeah,
tried, you've
yeah.
tried. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for Pius. What's the biggest investment you have invested in yourself?
In myself.
Yes.
Um, okay. I would say is my mathematics, I would say. Basically.
Mm.
In terms of like specifically the Olympiad. So for those
Okay.
that may not be familiar with that, is a competition for academics. So it's different
Okay.
from like the Olympics, right? So this
Okay.
is more in the academia. So
Mm.
for me, it's like on the mathematics direction. So from the secondary school, the Olympiads is focused on like pushing things to their limits, basically, so
Mm.
that you can go beyond even what you thought you could do.
That's very good.
So for me, that has been like something that has been with me, and I've been, yeah, and it has been helping me in every aspect. Like I would say, like many of my friends, the places I've been, even being here, I would say it contributed whether directly or indirectly,
Yeah.
right?
Because
So
your portfolio is very important.
yeah, so and for me, that has become like a part of my life. Is here to stay. So it's something I will not neglect either, irrespective of where I am, right? So,
Okay.
and it's a very beautiful thing. So, I think for me, that would be like probably the biggest thing. And maybe
Okay.
something else similar would be maybe family also,
That's
I
great.
guess. Yeah,
That's great.
family. But one thing with family is that I think one doesn't need to watch it in the sense of like waiting for payback in the way you may be thinking. Sometimes you get payback in different forms. You may not even realize the love you get.
Yeah, the
So
love. I
that's
mean, the
just that's
security that it
yeah.
gives you.
So
Yeah.
that itself goes a long way. Like even for mental health and everything, there are sometimes some things you can't say to other people, but you know you have your family,
Yeah.
people that can share
And you're
that
sure that they're
core
right
value.
behind you.
Yes. So I would say because sometimes we do focus on the material aspect and you think, okay, maybe how can this person help me back or but that I think that's a bit narrow minded.
Yeah.
You don't of course you don't want all you're doing to be that, right? But it's important also. So that would be my maybe encouragement as
That's
well.
very
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll ask Bukola the next
Okay.
question. How do you how do you manage personal development? How do you balance personal development and responsibility? Now, let's say responsibility in terms of family, because we are Africans, right? We have to be we have to be true to ourselves. Our realities are are way more different than other race, right? So like, how do you balance? Oh, how do you manage personal development? I have to develop myself. It has to be myself, and with your family need or your family, you know um raising your family with you. Yes.
Mm, that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful question. For me, it comes from different angles. It's something that, how do I put it now? I come from a very good family. Yeah, I will believe. It's not perfect, but I really do believe I come from a good family. And my dad is someone, and my mom, there are people that they'll tell you, build yourself, invest in. I was telling you that when I came here, and obviously the stipend is good and you can send things to your siblings, my dad would say, save for your next level, save for your next level, save for your next level. That's what my dad tells me. Save for your next level, save for your next level. So he has installed it in me and my siblings that you come first. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't invest in yourself, there is no how you can invest in this family. So my dad will always be like, save for your next level first. We that we are in Nigeria here, we'll see how we can manage. But for now, you're in another man's land. You're still trying to find your footing. Yeah, save for your next level. So this brings me to the place where, as someone, you let's say, I would like to come from the angle of the first child because I know it weighs more on them than on your remaining siblings.
Of
As someone
course.
coming from a family who, not me now, I'm talking of maybe you're an audience and you're watching. If you're someone coming from a family where you guys are not really doing great and you have to like invest in your siblings, you have to maybe send your siblings to school, our advising, as much as you're doing all this, be saving for your next level. Save for yourself. When I mean save, I don't just mean in money, but in energy and in capacity. First, as I said earlier on in the beginning of this podcast, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Empty cup.
You
Yeah.
have to be full. You have to be full. So you also have to make it known to your siblings that I am not drawing out money from the well. It might be hard. Yeah, but hard times don't last long. It's just a phase. But in this phase, you have to realize that I have to invest in myself first. Everything you're making, you don't have to just push it towards other people, because now it deters you from doing better and working better towards the next thing. Yeah. So now it now becomes a situation where you're stagnant, they are stagnant. Because the corn that you're supposed to plant, you have eaten the corn. So the corn cannot yield to feed everybody. Because you have 2 grains of corn, you're supposed to plant that corn so that it can yield tons of corn,
Yes.
more corn. But now, because you feel, oh, I am responsible for each and every one, that corn you're supposed to plant, you eat it. So now everybody's left, there's no corn. Everybody should be looking. Yeah, so that's how I would say you should balance it. You should always have that mentality. If I am not full, I can't pour into someone. So
Yes.
invest in yourself first, then you can help build other people up. You can help lift other people up. In as much as you now, there's a thin line between saying I am trying to invest in myself and you being totally irresponsible. Some people will be like, well, I'm investing in myself, I cannot help you. No. If you are investing in yourself now and the day of 5 naira, 10 naira, you cannot give to your sibling, trust me, the day you have 1 million, you'll not be able to give them. So in as
Yes.
much as you're investing in yourself, what am I saying? If you have 100 naira, um, invest, let's say, like 80 naira in yourself. The remaining 20 naira, you can now give to your siblings. Okay, use this one to do this, use this one to do this, use this one to do this. It's not that you will carry 80 naira and invest it in every other person. And the remaining 20 naira, you are trying to pay bus fare, you're trying to buy books, and there is nothing left for you to plant. So plant the bulk of it at the early stage so that it can yield more. And from more that it has yield, you can then now help other people. That is how I put it.
Thank you so much. Okay. Fires also wants to say
Just a
something.
little something. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was also thinking like family is one of the major things. Sometimes also work, and then sometimes we get so involved in these responsibilities and put it on our heads basically, as though the world really revolves
Revolves
around
around
us.
us.
Like if we are not there, things will not run,
I
right?
think I think
But
I
actually, this
sorry.
life, yeah,
I think sorry I'm cutting you short. I
yeah,
want to know. I just
okay,
want to, they call it the savior mentality.
Yes.
yeah.
Savior mentality.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sometimes you think that okay, if you are not here, things will not run. Trust me. If you are not here, things will still run,
Run.
right? So sometimes we need to have that knowledge, that awareness that it although you are playing a part, of course you have a part to play, but it's not all about you, right? So you should also give yourself some space to actually grow as well, knowing that even if you are not here, there will still be a way. It may be more difficult, of course,
Yeah.
but there will be a way. So meaning you can actually manage. That's what it means. You can even manage now as well.
And they can
Right?
manage.
They can manage as well with you. But the goal is that in the future it's going to be getting better and better and better, right? Not
Yeah.
just spend it all now. That's it. Yeah.
That's very, very
And
insightful.
also, sorry,
So
I would
in
like
okay.
to add that, sometimes when you become that savior, or you put yourself in that savior mentality state, you deprive other people the responsibility of knowing how to take charge of their lives. because they'll be like, oh, I can always run to this person. They don't get to that place where they say, how do I make this thing work for myself? All they can think of is, oh, I have one rich auntie somewhere. They just run to that auntie. Yeah, it just looks simple because you're always there to save them, thereby depriving them that ability of figuring out certain aspects of life by themselves, because now they are totally just dependent on you. They know that, oh, if I call Auntie Chamaka or like call Auntie Tolu, she would show up. So they don't really even know how to even put in the hard work. They don't know how to build themselves to become people who can do things for themselves, because they believe, oh, my sister is always there to help, my brother is always there to help, to hand me handouts and all that. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's very insightful. Just in conclusion to this segment, I think some of the things that some of the term that is used for this is called black tax, one, and then there's also survivor's guilt. I was telling Bukola the other day that some years back, when I got back home, maybe I think after my master's degree, and we went to a mall, and then my sisters were like afraid to use the escalator, because it was like their first time at that time. And I cried because to me, these are the people that I love the most in this world, and they can't experience what I experience on a daily basis. Do you understand? So there's that need to want to make your siblings level up. Yeah, there is that. But in all of this, understand that you are the center. That is the illustration that keeps me focused. I am the center of my life. All these people are all around me. Yeah. So I am like the sun. You radiate. You radiate, right? So first you must make sure the sun is healthy enough to be able to do that. So that gives me a clearer perspective when I'm dealing, right? I think more importantly, what we should understand when it comes to family, you should it is on you to help raise people that are prepared. Because if not, you will suffer for long. You will suffer for a long time. So you should be more driven towards helping them, equipping them, finance things that will that drives them to become better, so that they have their own freedom. Because that is what you want eventually. You don't want to give hand. It's like, don't give me fish, teach me how to catch the fish, right? So we should handle it in that direction. There's always that need to want to make your siblings level up, and whatever you can do to do that, but it should be more skill oriented. Yes, you can give them handouts for dailies at certain stage, yeah, but at some point it should now be focused on driving those skills that will help them in their lifetime, because that is what you want to you nobody wants handouts every time, because I believe that it robs something from you, right? So you want to be able to have that ability to do it by yourself. So I think as Africans, as maybe you are the first person that is doing better in your family, maybe whatever, maybe you got the opportunity first. We should always have it in our mind to you know help them to level up to where we are, because that is what will give you peace in the first place. You'll never be happy if your siblings are not doing well. So the first thing, make them level up, and then you tell them, okay, you see that they are going in the direction that you want them to go, then you can have some peace. Yeah. But not necessarily handout. You cannot be handing somebody money until they are 30, 40, 50. No. They are married. You cannot be
I
doing
was
that.
I was watching a movie,
You can't do that.
and
Right?
this lady, she's like the main person that like was doing well in her family. She even dropped out of school to take care of all of them, and she kept helping them. Do you know this? Her siblings, some of them were like 35, 40. They were still in the house taking handouts from her.
Oh.
One wanted to get married. It was a movie. I think it's on YouTube. One wanted to get married. He was asking us to come and finance the marriage. He gave birth. Was asking us to come and buy the clothes for the kids.
He has more kids than she thinks.
I'm telling you. So
No, there are commitments definitely that you have towards your family that is like forever and ever. But they shouldn't be mandatory. They shouldn't be mandatory. So let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. How would you, in closing, how would you advise a Gen Z? Or what would you advise a Gen Z to focus on? Because the topic is the cost of self-investment, right? Yeah. What would you advise a Gen Z to focus on, on developing? Just say in, let's say five things that you advise a Gen Z to focus. You can take two and you can take, yeah.
okay. First, as I said, education is the bedrock to basically everything in life. You have to be educated to find ease to a certain degree in life. Get a bachelor's degree. That is the least you should have. Yeah. Even if you already
Even
have a
if it's a
skill.
diploma
Yeah.
or an
Or
HND,
HND,
whatever.
ND.
No,
Yeah.
because I think people have it in different
Oh
styles.
yeah, yeah. When I mean a
Everybody,
bachelor's,
everybody cannot enter the university.
yeah. When
Yes.
I mean bachelor's degree, apologies. I mean post secondary like degree.
Yes.
ND, HND,
Yeah.
bachelor's, just get one of those. It gives you like leverage in life.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'll say invest in relationships.
Of
Sometimes where your
course.
degree will not get you, relationships would take you there. Relationship makes life easy for you. Invest in relationship. I'm still trying to work on that because I'm someone that would just rather be in my room all year round.
Lazy
I'm
relationship
telling
builder.
you, I'm telling you. But I can tell you firsthand what relationships have done for me and what they will still do for me. So invest in relationship. Don't be this person that feels like I can do without everybody. You cannot. No man
No.
is an island.
No.
You're not self, should I say,
Sufficient.
sufficient. Yes. You need people. Invest in education, invest in relationships, even when you still have skills. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Pious too.
Okay, I would say
To our
maybe
Gen Zs that are watching us.
I'll say to work on your skills, especially things that are towards the side of hobbies. Things you are more engaging, you are ready to get into those things. So I think every hobby has like a good aspect to it, personally. So I think everyone, starting with hobby, at least we should be able to find a skill related to that and work on that at the very least. You don't have to restrict yourself maybe just to that, right? Because I mean, there are different opportunities that may come and you want to like expand your options basically. But at least you can start from like the things closer to you, things you that are more easy for you to get into. So it's not something maybe you procrastinate and like, okay, I have like this big project, like it's like some foreign thing to you, right? Start with something more close, something you can like have more attachment to, and that will be a drive at least to achieving something. Yeah. So I would say
Awesome.
like at least in terms of skill
Yeah.
to get more skill.
Get more skill.
And there are some
Okay.
other that are not, maybe it's not much about talent or hobbies, but there are things that are easier for people to get into in general. So for example, like I know back at home sometimes some people just get into like selling pure water. It looks like a simple thing, but it does pay off because sometimes you can combine that with other things you're doing as just a side stuff, right? So maybe you have like a little shop with some other, like the main things you have in mind, right? But you can also sell pure water, and that is something that can pay off like quickly. So it's not like you have any talent for pure water or anything like that, but it's not that difficult to get into, right? So you need some little skills like that at least. But no matter what, you know you have something, right?
That's very good.
Then another one would be, at least for me personally, I think everyone should, is spiritual investment also.
Yes.
Similar to family and maybe emotional, but I would say it's probably even higher, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like emotional, but now towards God,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I think is very important because whatever is like stable spiritually is basically is set. You have that confidence that is maybe just a matter of time. So sometimes even if some things are not going very well, you know that you can go through this. So mentally you're already very fit, so to speak. Because
Yes.
you know there's like something higher or someone higher you can trust that definitely
Of
this would
course,
work,
that's
right?
able to
Yeah.
put things
And then you
together
can
for you.
even get some inspiration and different things like that. Even practical things. So for me I would
Awesome.
say spiritual. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. In totality, I think the Gen Zs should focus on one of the investments you can do for yourself is setting boundaries. It's key. Set boundaries. You know, it is not selfish to set boundaries. It is not it is because when you set boundaries, you're able to protect your space, your mental health, and you're able to be more in control. Like things don't get to you before you prepare for them. So, more importantly, or also in addition to what you said, you should learn to set boundaries because it will help you in moving forward. um with all that said, I think we have come to the end of this section of this episode, and we'll ask that you comment and you subscribe to Depth and Becoming. You can also email us at depthbecoming@gmail.com. Until next time, see you. Bye
See ya.
bye.